Carolina in my mind. In my mind, I'm going to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine? You hit me from behind. Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Gone to Carolina in my mind. And I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Gone to Carolina in my mind. Gone, I'm gone. Say nice things.
Hi, it's Jones Angel, voice of the Tar Heels, and you're listening to your flagship station for Tar Heel sports, 97.9 The Hill, WCHL, Chapel Hill.
Somewhere between the tailgate smoke and the sound of shoulder pads cracking in Chapel Hill, there's a feeling. You know it. You felt it. That feeling in the air. Right before kickoff. That gut-level energy that says, we're Carolina, and we're built different. This ain't just Saturdays in the South. This is history. This is Kenan Stadium. This is Bill Belichick with a plan and a Tar Heel team with a grudge. You want smoke? Good, because we brought the whole damn fire. With Tommy Ashley, Joey Powell, and people who live and breathe Tar Heel football. Buckle up, y'all. It's game time. This is Inside Carolina Live.
Last week was Carolina's lowest offensive point of the season. Now, the best passing attack in the ACC is waiting on the other side of Highway 5501. Duke's coming in, they're filled with fire. Carolina's coming in looking for redemption. They have freaking heart. Victory bells on the line, and so is the Tar Heel pride. I'm Joey Powell. He's Tommy Ashley. Matt Merletti joins us today. This is Inside Carolina Live. It's brought to you by Johnny T-Shirt. And today, the rivalry is real. Boys, how the hell are you?
Doing well, man. What a beautiful day in Chapel Hill.
Gorgeous.
I mean, sun's come out. Joey arrives in the Bowls Light. Sun comes out.
That's usually how it works.
No,
Merletti rolls up.
Merletti rolls up. It gets hot.
With
He brings the beautiful crowd with him.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could not.
Does Merletti have the most beautiful family in the history of the world?
I
He's up
appreciate
there.
that. They
Like
don't always act like
They
it.
look like a freaking Olin Mills portrait studio.
I know,
photo.
really. You just need to get the head tilt going.
Good God.
I mean, but think about this, Joey. You said it before we went on air. We're in shorts and T-shirts.
Pretty nice.
Hey, man.
in late November in Bowls
Skies
Light.
out, thighs out. Welcome to November in North
I
Carolina.
don't need to see thighs. I mean, the sun's out, guns out, and we can do that. But I mean, this is a big ball game for North Carolina, right? You're 4-6. You got Duke coming to town. Duke is you mentioned the offense in the lead-in. They've got a great quarterback. This is an opportunity for Bill Belichick to finally show the fan base something positive. Because they're going to go to Raleigh next week. That's going to be a hellhole to deal with. and they're going to have to deal with that. But today in Kenan Stadium is the opportunity, Matt, for Carolina to sort of get back on the right track and at least a positive track going into the offseason, because the offseason is running up on us quick.
It absolutely is. And it's, to me, this is a bigger game just because obviously the victory bell and it's Duke, and people around here really do care.
Yeah.
About this. This matters. And I remember when I first moved down here and came to school as a freshman, I always thought this is the rivalry. It's not, and I didn't understand the state part of it, but you could tell the I guess the intensity at practice that week really ramped up, and you could tell a major difference. So I imagine that's still happening even with the new staff, that guys that have played this game before, they're letting it be known. So this is a big one. It means much more than just trying to stay eligible to try and get to a bowl game.
Tommy and I are going to date ourselves a little bit when we do this, but Tommy, when you and I were Merletti's, Merletti's age and his kid's age, this wasn't a rivalry. North Carolina would beat the brakes off of Duke. It ended with Spurrier left, but then North Carolina beat the brakes off of Duke for the better part of 15 years. And it crossed multiple different staffs. It crossed multiple different regimes. And then Duke brought in David Cutcliffe, and all of a sudden, they've been a decent program ever since. Like they won an ACC title, I believe, or they got to a title game at least. They've been incredibly steady since then. And now, like I said at the top, they're bringing in if you look statistically at Darian Mintz's numbers, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I mean, the dude's averaging 309 passing yards a game. And when I say he's throwing well, dude is dropping absolute dimes into double coverage, small windows, situations like that. And that will do a lot for you. I mean, if you think about, look at where North Carolina is. How good would they be right now if they had just, even a top 20 quarterback, much less a guy that's as good as Mensah has been. And he's covered up a lot of woes for that Duke roster as a whole. I think, like you mentioned, Tommy, with the Belichick era, this is a big opportunity to at least make people feel better about where the program can go, if not where the program is.
Yeah, I mean, this program needs some positive vibes, right? And when we're talking about quarterback, you look at a guy like Mensah, and we can look at Drake May, Sam Howell. Those guys cover up a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
In college especially, in pros to a certain level, but in college especially, if you have an elite quarterback or a very good quarterback, you mask a ton of issues.
Mm-hmm.
You mask offensive issues. You mask a defense. All the opportunities that you have to be bad can be masked by a quality quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
And look, let's not make Duke out to be what they're not. Duke is a average team.
I mean, they're literally a 500 team.
Right. And we're expecting or we're lamenting that they're going to wreck Carolina because of one guy, the quarterback that they have. Mintz is a guy that, you come in from Tulane. He's had some success, but for Carolina going into this game, and we'll get in more to the game plan as we go deeper in this show, he's great if he's clean. And I said it on the Game Plan podcast, and I'll say it again. If his jersey is clean when this game is over,
Duke can name their score.
They've beaten Carolina's rear end.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the key to this game. But the bottom line is he excels, and Carolina just hasn't been able to find that at the quarterback position this year, Matt. And that everything else we can talk about, to me, including the head coach, pales in comparison to what an elite quarterback means to a program.
It really does. We've been fortunate enough to see it for quite a few years here with Sam Howell and Drake May, and we know what that does for an offense and for a team, period. And I listened to Jeff Schottmer and Taylor Vipolis's podcast, and they're talking about, are we going to go for points if there's a minute and change left before the half? We're almost guaranteeing points in the past. And now we're feeling the effects of just not having that at all.
Just get out of the half.
Yeah. Maybe getting a field goal. Yeah, if it doesn't get blocked. So, yes, it makes a massive difference. And it is the key to the game on Duke's side, that they can really fix a lot of issues that they have and clean up a lot of things just by good quarterback play. But it's also it is the key to the game, but it's also, if we can pressure him, that's the one chink in his armor, is when he gets pressured, he's not nearly as good.
Matt, you mentioned earlier in the segment that it's different in rivalry week. Tell me what it was like when you were in the locker room the week that you played Duke versus anything else.
So I remember, so for those that don't know, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I knew about UNC Duke and just in general, especially basketball, but I didn't know that there was a victory bell. I know I'm not the only one that feels that way and has that experience in the current locker room right now. There's no way. And that gets passed down. I could tell the intensity of the practice really ramped up that week. And I could tell that we had the victory bell at practice. They're ringing it in between practice sessions. It was a much different atmosphere. And you could tell a lot of the people around here the community alone, not just Chapel Hill, it matters. And people talk about this all the time and hate on UNC all the time. I work in Raleigh. I hear it all the time. And it's something that's constantly in the back of your mind. So it really matters. It gives you the bragging rights for the next year. This does mean something different.
You know, what's funny to me is obviously I'm from the area. I've been in the area my entire life, and I see how the rivalries work between NC State, between Duke and Carolina, and even Wake Forest. And we saw that last week with Wake Forest, is that there is a sense of they want to beat Carolina or they want Carolina to lose more than they want to win.
To breathe.
Oh, yeah.
And that sounds elitist when you look at the levels of the program the last
It does,
few
but
years,
it's true,
but
too.
it is 100% true. And I will never forget, and I'm probably going to get in trouble here with WCHL and FCC and all that, but I remember 4 years ago, somebody within the Carolina program told me that they didn't give a shit about NC State and Duke. And I said, you better.
Yeah, don't say that out loud.
Because these folks around here matter, and they care about what happens in these games.
Yep.
Now, Carolina has played Wake, Duke, and NC State to end the season once, and that was in 1999. And so you have in 3 week session, in 3 weeks time frame, you've got all that matters for Carolina football. Whether the staff wants to believe it, whether the people at the university want to believe it, the fan base believes it. And they failed last week in Winston-Salem, and now they've got Duke coming to town with an opportunity to make some people happy when it comes to the rivalries that exist in this state. There's no other state like it. You know, you talk Auburn, Alabama, and all that. These people are all next door.
Yeah.
You mentioned it. You work in Raleigh, you hear about it. We live where we live, and you hear about it all the time. And so these games matter so much. And for any staff to look at it and say it's just another game, it's not.
So North Carolina is clearly kind of at the end of the runway, right? There's literally 2 games left. How do you get right between now and the end of the season when you're going against 2 of the probably most pressure-packed games you're going to see, right? Aside from TCU, and I think TCU was pressurized for a lot of different reasons, but now the pressure is there because you just don't want to walk out of the 2025 year with the amount of butthurt that you've left the fan base with. So you've got a chance, but it's against your 2 most hated rivals. How can North Carolina find ways to be better when they haven't all year in a pressurized situation?
It starts with this game. I mean, obviously, it's just this game means so much more for so many different reasons. To steal your words, it's for one, it's obviously the communities around us, and everyone is paying attention to this and to us, regardless of who we're playing, and it always matters. And so it means something to the community. It means something to the alumni. It means something to the football alumni, all of it. And the victory bell and having that in your hands is a big deal, and being able to ring that means a lot.
I think when you listen to Will Hardy, right? He's a Georgia boy, and he talked about
he's Matt Merletti-like.
He is. I mean, he's assuming your mantle.
His parents, they have the best looking family, actually. Not
really?
me. Okay. Not me.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Breeders.
That you get. It should be disallowed to have that many good looking people in one family. But you've got a situation where he's been here. His freshman year, he makes the interception in Durham.
Yep.
To seal that game, and you've got. He understands the rivalry, and he's not from here.
Yeah.
People that live here, look at the Bowls lot. The Bowls lot has been thin for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But the Bowls lot is filled in, and people are here to watch this Carolina Duke game. It matters so much, and that's what I want to see North Carolina play as if it matters. I want to see these guys, these transfers from Washington or wherever they're transferring in from, to play like it matters. I don't want to see what we saw in Winston-Salem last week, where it just looked like Carolina was going through the motions,
Yep, I was just
until the end of the clock. Yeah. And, it mattered to the Wake Forest fans. God knows it mattered to the ones sitting around us. Right. I mean, it was unbelievable. But this is where you build your program. They talk about building the program from the inside out, and they're talking about from the lines out. You build the program from winning the teams that your fan base hates out. Yeah. And I think that's why this makes these next 2 weeks, so these last 3 weeks, hugely important for this program.
So let's quantify this then. Say lightning strikes, Carolina finds a way to win today. Put that into terms as to how important that is, or how that might change the feeling of this season.
Oh, and not to jump ahead to predictions, I do think we're going to win today.
All right, we'll keep that energy.
I will, and it does absolutely mean a whole lot.
Man brings his whole family. He's totally changed his outlook, right?
Totally changed, man.
I don't hate the prediction for sure.
It's like you said, Tommy. They're not a juggernaut, but what does it mean if North Carolina can find a way? If you're right, what does that mean? How does that change the way people look this season?
I think it does change the way. It's almost like what we've always seen with NC State. They beat us at the end of the year. Yeah. It saves their coach's job.
Yep. Literally.
Yeah. Many times. And so yes, it absolutely means more. And you would look at this season not quite as bad if we win these one of the next 2 games, let alone both.
Yeah, at least I don't have to go to work.
Yes.
And listen to some dude.
The retired man over here.
At least I don't have to go to work.
At least most people don't have to go to work and listen to the dude that couldn't point to Duke University on a map.
Yeah.
Or Wake Forest on a map, chirping about it.
Those are the ones that crush me, is the people that
Don't get me started.
Okay, all right. I'll stop.
I've been out here for too long in the Bulls lot. You get me started.
This is my favorite Tommy, by the way.
Well, you said when we got out here, you said, let's go all in. And we're here, but we're not going there. But it matters so much. And that's why Butch Davis, I love Butch Davis. And you guys can speak to that differently, but it was just another game. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It is not.
That was the one.
You can't say that out loud, right?
Yeah. I mean, and he did. Yeah, it was.
Tell your boys we got some cookies. She brings them every week for us. Thank you. She brings Tar Heel cookies for us every week. Yes. And I know those 2 dudes right there will absolutely crush them.
Look right there. We will. Tear up some cookies.
This is the benefits they get when Dad's on the radio show, right? They get to come by and get unlimited sugar cookies that are brought to us by our neighbors. I would love to see it, if nothing else, because this staff having some positive mojo is something we haven't seen. Yeah. Right. I would love to see how this staff can actually operate with some good vibes, with some positive energy, and with some great things kind of going for them. I don't know that happens today, but I'm a lot more bullish on it than I probably was, 24 hours ago. Okay, so when we come back, we'll dig into why this is the most dangerous Duke team Carolina has seen in years, and what Carolina's got to fix immediately. We'll have Jason Staples, bottom of the first hour, to talk some X's and O's. But this is going to be a fun day. It's a great day out here in the Bulls lot. It smells amazing. The weather is beautiful. We're glad that you have worked us into your pregame ritual and are making us part of your game day tailgate routine. We'll be right back. You're listening to Inside Carolina Live on 97.9 The Hill, WCHL.
I'm Ryan Switzer, and you're listening to Inside Carolina.
Diamond engagement rings, timeless fashion pieces, expert in-house repair, and custom design, all from our family-owned boutique, where every detail matters.
So whether you're saying yes for the first time, celebrating milestones, or simply giving gifts that bring smiles, come explore Oma's Jewelers. Warm service and the sparkle to make this holiday unforgettable.
Oma's Jewelers, Eastgate Crossing, back where we belong, shining brighter than ever. Visit us today.
Dana Wicker Cantrell uses compassion in real estate with Caldwell Banker, Howard Perry, and Walston.
Where I find people get the most emotional about selling their homes is when they have to get rid of furniture that's been in their family. And I advise them, all the people that have ever downsized with me, none of them have come back and been upset. We're talking later and they say this was the best thing I've ever done. There's a bit of a release when we can let go of these things.
For more information, go to danacantrellrealty.com.
My name is Ben Johnson. I oversee the design and pre-construction process at Will Johnson Building. The synergy that we get in delivering everything that we do under one roof. So design in a vacuum is sort of useless, but when you have design, construction, interiors, the budgeting, and you get that highly collaborative, interactive experience within our company and then with the client as well, that typically results in projects that are timely and on budget.
Go to willjohnsonbuildingcompany.com and see for yourself.
I'm Jeremy Salemson with CIMG Residential Mortgage. At CIMG, we are so proud to be your local mortgage experts. At CIMG, we loan our own money, approve loans locally, and stay connected with our customers throughout the process. In short, we humanize the lending experience. Learn more at CIMGINC.com. CIMG, lending on a first-name basis. NMLS number 39460.
You're listening to Inside Carolina Live on 97.9 The Hill WCHL, the flagship station for Tar Heel sports.
Light the fuse and run now, brother, cause you ain't got a lot of time. Don't you act surprised when
This is why we don't have nice things. It's something. Inside Carolina Live. Man, a little blackberry smoke and Tommy gets all fired up. Tommy gets ready. Gets real. He wants to run through a wall. North Carolina's going to be some people running through a wall today. Tommy, we saw an offense that had become not good, but they weren't as bad. You know, and then they come out against Stanford and have 7 more yards than me in the first quarter. And then last week against Wake Forest, it was as anemic as I can remember. And I think we saw the stat. It was the first time they'd had a game that they didn't score a touchdown since Larry Fedora in the Hurricane game against Virginia Tech. I don't know how you fix that. I mean, at this point in the year, it's late November. They've got no rhythm. They don't have a running identity, and they've got 0 explosive plays.
Yeah.
And, you know, Duke's defense struggles against the run, but their defensive line is strong. I mean, not like garlic milkshake strong, but they're strong enough. So how does this team today offensively, first off, stop doing the bad? Because I swear, and this is where you and I are very much in sync on this, the play calling has been garbage. And I don't mean play calling just because they're not scoring. I mean that there's no ingenuity, there's no variation, there's no creativity. There is absolutely nothing in what they're doing offensively that makes the defense come out of their base and actually have to scheme differently. How do you fix that again, you know, in a game that you have to score points?
Yeah, I mean, is it conceivable that they've been holding back for 10 games?
I sure hope not.
That's the thing watching this team is there's 0 creativity.
None.
To get guys, and then I watch other teams play, and they're doing all this crazy stuff, and they're breaking tendencies and all that, and maybe we'll see that this week. I watched NC State and Florida State last night, and Florida State.
Why?
Because
do you hate yourself?
No, I enjoy watching college football.
There's
because
a good college
I
round ball on this,
enjoy.
right?
I'm a football guy.
All right.
Aside from the fact that Florida State can't field punts, they have 80 plays of 10-yard runs or more. And I was blown away. As sorry as
What's
that
like?
offense is.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're definitely
everybody
not in that
says their
ballpark.
offense is terrible, right? But they've had that many plays of of positivity.
Versus how many do we have?
I
know we're ranked
not that.
darn near last.
I mean, I'd say it's got to be a dozen, maybe.
I mean,
Yeah,
it is.
maybe.
It is. There's only a handful that I can remember. But why haven't you done something creative? And Matt, you can speak to this from a defensive look at it. Is something that is different. And I keep expecting until this week in our predictions, I kept expecting North Carolina to break out something that was like,
well, they did. They ran one gadget play to a single receiver option, and that was a tight end running a square out in the end zone.
But you have your best.
Whoa!
You
Slow down, Freddie Kitchens.
You have your best wide receiver as the one throwing the pass.
Yes, it's. I swear to God, Matt hasn't heard me say this. You have. I think sometimes offensive coordinators, especially in college, would rather get points for creativity than points on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like,
but Carolina doesn't even do that. There's no creativity.
But it's like the pass against Wake Forest, which was a catch, but they ruled it not a catch. Why are you throwing that to a true freshman when you have guys that have produced?
A true freshman running back.
Sense, yeah.
It makes no sense. It's like, are we trying to get fired?
Maybe.
It would make sense if that were the thought process. But for this, to your point, how do they do something different? I don't know. Duke's
got to take shots. You have to.
Duke's got a couple tough defensive tackles, and they've got a tough edge.
That's what I mean. If their defense struggles against the run, and they have been, we'll talk about with Jason Staples here in a second. They have a ton of injuries at linebacker. I mean, they've essentially got like you and I, Tommy, playing linebacker for them right now. So they've struggled.
I'm gonna get concussed in the first 15 seconds of the game.
They struggle to run. They've struggled to run the ball this year. But like North Carolina hasn't shown their willingness to run the ball. I mean, you got guys that literally are going down on first contact on almost every play. They don't break tackles. There's no scheming to run the ball. It's just literally snap the ball and assume that we're going to be able to block it and run in between the tackles. And that hasn't worked, and they're still trying it.
So how's that work today, man?
To me, you gotta mix in some play action passes, even if it's RPOs, something to throw their linebacking core off so that we can actually start hitting some big plays. But that's service with a smile right there.
That is
brings
epic,
you a beer.
right?
It's not bad.
A1.
I'm doing all right. I think I'm doing it right.
You're doing it right by not screwing it up, so you're doing okay. Yeah.
When you get those kind of deliveries from the young ones, they were raised right.
I just put a little cold thing on my arm and like, oh, look at that. To me, you have to mix that up, though, with some RPOs and some play action passes and just throw the ball deep and don't throw it to a freshman, a guy that can't do that. But you got to take shots. I don't care how inconsistent and how bad Gio Lopez has even been. If you're not going to keep up with Duke's offense and put up some points, we're not going to have a chance.
What are you doing? It's you've at least, and to your point, Matt, you don't even have to complete deep throws.
No.
Just throw them.
Just try.
Make the other team at least have to, get to where they have to play off coverage a little bit, and they can't press on every single snap.
Exactly.
And I don't know that North Carolina's shown any commitment to anything this year offensively.
That is my point right there, and I wrote it in my column. It was the first line of my no identity on offense. We are 10 games in.
Yeah.
This is game 11.
Still don't have any idea.
And if anybody can tell me what the identity of North Carolina's offense is, I'd love to hear it. And that is it's mind-blowing.
It hurts to think about.
Given the who's the coach, and that's all the things that we expected to be a thing under this coaching staff. Fundamentals, playing soundly,
reducing
all these
penalties
things have not been a thing, and that's what's mind-blowing. Is that this grand experiment, none of the things we expected have happened. Wins and losses, of course you'd like to win, but it's never been about how you've lost, or it's never been about that you've lost. It's been about how they've lost.
Right.
And this is another opportunity, the last of two, possibly three, if they can steal one of these last two games and they get the APR waiver and play in. Somebody in the parking lot said maybe they'll play in the Saudi Arabia Bowl.
I really don't know how that's possible. What is the APR waiver?
It's like there's nobody left.
We've got a bunch of bowl games. We don't have enough people to play them. Here, you guys sucked you guys suck, but not as bad as some other people suck. So
I knew that we could. I just didn't know what went into
gross.
it. It's not a good feeling.
But you still have to win one of these next two. And for North Carolina, pull out all the stops. One of my favorite things, and this is not a sponsorship of Panera, but they have a kitchen sink. I think it's called I'm not sure. I always call it a dump truck cookie.
Sponsorship.
But we're gonna. I told you it was gonna be live today. We're gonna have. They need to have a kitchen sink day.
I'll take you even further. The Anchor Bar in Buffalo has a thing called the trash plate.
There you go.
Which essentially it's everything on one giant plate with sauce. And so, yeah, I mean, North Carolina absolutely cannot hold anything back. And what's scary is I don't know even if not holding anything back, even if they have been holding something back, can they execute it? Yeah. So tell me what's the reason they haven't been able to do anything offensively? Is it execution? Is it offensive line play? Is it scheme? Is it preparation? Who's holding the blame here? You've always said, you and I have said the adults in the room, and I think that's possible. But after game 10, aren't your players stepping up at some point?
Yeah, but I mean, as a coach, it is your job to coach your guys to do things that they can do.
Well,
you're trying to get them to do exactly what your plan is.
But your plan has to be what they are capable of doing.
Yeah.
Stop asking Gio Lopez to throw a 30-yard out across the field and running across his body
while rolling rock.
Yes.
And those type plays. So I think for North Carolina in this game is, Bill Belichick always talks about we just got to be better. We got to be better at what we do. We got to be better all around and more consistent and all that. But the part of coaching that is very underrated is the ability to have your guys do what they're capable of doing and have some success against other teams. So we'll see how that goes. But I think for North Carolina, to be honest with you, Joey, I think we're going to see more of the same today.
That's where it blows my mind is that if you look at all of the, I guess all the hallmarks of Bill Belichick's career, it's been this ability to identify talent and get the most out of it. We're 10 games in, and I'm not so sure this staff has properly identified where their talent is, or, as Tommy said, they're not putting them in a place to succid. And that is malpractice to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me get in here before I get out of here because I don't last on these shows.
Let him get in here before he gets out of here. So
but I want to ask you, Matt, and this is one thing that has been interesting to me, is you have coaches, and Hubert Davis used to say it last year in basketball, and Bill Belichick says it. I don't know when your opportunity is going to be, but you need to be ready when your opportunity comes around. How difficult is that as a player in the middle of it to not know your role, to not have some set guidelines and just to be like on ready? Because it feels like to me like, okay, I didn't play. Let's talk about Damon June. Damon June went off against Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
The next week he didn't barely play. And then the next week, he plays a lot. Madrid Tucker comes out of nowhere, plays a ton of snaps, does decently well, disappears again. Same thing with Shenard Clower. How hard is it for a player to not know what's expected of them and to be ready, quote unquote, be ready at the drop of a hat? I just think that's difficult.
It is. It absolutely is difficult. I've talked to Bryn about this when the year with Fedora that he had, or I think he had 2 years with Fedora. But when he was rotating in with Marquise, he hated it for that very reason. You can't get in a rhythm.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's even more so because of a quarterback. I think it matters even more. But even for the running backs, you still get in a rhythm. It still applies. And I think it means more to a quarterback. But it absolutely matters. And these guys are still nervous going out there, I bet, especially when you take time off like that. And, I don't know if they're getting punished for certain things if they're not playing up to the whatever coach's standard it is, that's why it's happening. I can't imagine because, as you said, it's how do you not play after crushing it the week before? But still, all of that does play mind games. And that's a major part of this. They're kids. There are kids out there. And the mental piece of that is massive. Cannot be more understated.
And that's the failing, I think, with this staff is to think in this 33rd NFL bull mess doesn't fly in college. And I think that's an aspect of this is like, know when you're ready. Well, I'd like to know, am I going to have to be used here on the third series of the game that I can prepare?
Are there two plays that are drawn up just for me that when I go in this formation, I know that this is all I have to know right now.
Yeah, and get your mind right for that.
Yeah, and to your point, looking ahead at a game against Duke is are the guys that they're going to use, have they been fully prepped to be ready for the moment? Because Duke's going to come out with hair on fire.
Yes.
Folks don't understand a couple of things. One, they don't understand the desire of the rivals to beat North Carolina. That has been a given for years.
Yeah.
But they also don't understand the desire for these coaches. You look at Dickert last week for Wake Forest to beat Bill Belichick.
Think he wasn't happy to do that?
To beat Bill Belichick's rear end. And I think that is a big deal. And you have to prepare your players to be able to deal with that. You can't just say, just be ready.
No,
sit over there, kid, and be ready when we call you. It doesn't work that way. And that's another one of the WTF moments with this staff.
So
going into week 11.
So is it making early, easy throws? Is it getting, they've shown a propensity to want to throw to the perimeter. But I want to ask Staples about this next segment. But when I see a Duke team that is struggling at linebacker in the middle of the field is soft, I am slant, like, mesh routes, anything over the middle of the field. Just
That's your weak link. Go after it. Yeah.
I mean,
try to expose it the entire game.
Well, that's also the type of thing, too, where those throws, again, never been a coach, not pretending I understand wholeheartedly, but I don't understand why North Carolina has not gone to some of those quick leverage throws just to get your playmakers the ball in space. And instead, it's always something where there's it's a slow developing play. It's something where, Gio's got to throw across his body.
Yeah. You need
leverage plays like that. The quick game will absolutely get a quarterback some momentum. But even more importantly, you get the guy a ball, who knows what happens. Yeah. North Carolina has shown a willingness to bust in coverage. North Carolina has shown that they can fall down and the other team can score. Why are we not doing similar things if we're the coaching staff? Like, those plays should be very, very easy to diagnose and recognize. And that's where I go back to what I said a second ago. I think sometimes, rather than putting points on the board, offensive coordinators just rather look cute.
I would be the biggest thief if I was an offensive coordinator. I would steal everything that you did that worked on both sides of the ball. And I feel like, to your point, Joey, there's a lot of times where these offensive coordinators want it to be their thing.
Yeah. And just do what works.
Yeah.
Why you play to win the game, Herm Edwards?
Well, I watched, and I'll freely admit I'm not as versed in it, but I watched North Carolina field hockey yesterday in the national semifinals. A brutal way to lose that game, but they scored on a goal early with a ridiculous play.
Oh, you talking about the back pass?
Yes. Later in the game, Northwestern
did
ran
the same thing.
Exact same play. For
glad you saw that.
Just steal it. I mean, just absolutely.
Stole it within the confines of a game.
Yes, and it's not that difficult. I think a lot of times what we see is hard-headedness from this staff. We see guys wanting to say, I did it my way.
Right.
And Frank's been dead a long time.
Well, and even worse, this mine, and this is where I think damn it, Tommy. Even worse is these guys are so ham-fisted about, we're from the NFL, so what we do must work and it must be better. Yeah, and that's just, we're 10 games in, that's proven not to work.
That's the thing, though. Even in the NFL, like that, it is a thieves' game in terms of schemes on offense and defense, and everyone is a thief. Everyone is a thief. Yeah. That's what the part that is baffling, and it's like doesn't make any sense. Is because I've thought about this before. If I'm ever an offensive or defensive coordinator, if I ever was, I would. There's so many plays that you see on a weekly basis where you say, like, I've never seen that before. Man, that was creative. You see it all the time with Sean McVay. Yeah. You see it with the Chiefs. You see all these different things. How hard is it to compile for whatever hits. First and 10? Yes, for first and 10, for second and 20, whatever. Like, have all kinds of plays that are unique like that you could just steal from anyone else.
Yeah,
it's not hard.
That's where I think this staff has kind of leaned into this insistence for insistence's sake. Because I think you just nailed every single reason why I feel like a middling high school offense could probably have done better last week against Wake than North Carolina did.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a second. We're going to look at some film. Jason Staples will break down kind of what went wrong and whether or not North Carolina can actually survive this passing juggernaut from Duke. We'll be right back on Inside Carolina Live on 97.9 The Hill, WCHL.
This is Ryan Taylor.
Virginia, 5.3 yards per carry. Right? This is since their linebackers have been banged up. They've really struggled to stop the run. And again, they struggled to stop the run, not only against Georgia Tech and Clemson, both of whom can run it, and Virginia, who can run it pretty well, but Connecticut ran for 5.2 yards per carry against them. So if you're North Carolina in this one, this is one where you say, okay, they're going to try to win the line of scrimmage. They're going to try to do this, but this is a game where you try to establish the run with some RPOs. Put those linebackers, like you said, put those linebackers in conflict, force them to ask a lot of their linebackers. Put them in a position where those backers have to make tackles. Put them in position where those backers have to cover while a potential run is coming downhill as well. The more you can go after the area where they're really banged up, where they're really young, where they're thin, the better off you are. And coming into this game trying to throw a bunch downfield, that's probably not going to work very well for you, because I'm just not sure that in 7 on none that they're completing every pass right now. But if you can find ways to run the football, if you can run it for more than 4 yards a carry, 4.5 yards a carry, like the last 4 opponents have against Duke, you're actually going to give yourself opportunities in the passing game and so on, because they're not going to be able to pin their ears back and rush the passer the way that they'd like. And then that does open some stuff up downfield where you can plausibly get the ball to some of your guys that you feel like can change the scoreboard. So that's really where the hope is that you can come in and establish the run and do that this week.
Confidence rating 1 to 10. Where do you give that North Carolina will actually establish the run and be able to run for at least 4 yards a carry?
4.
Whew. Break out the Tums, folks. It's going to be one of those. This Duke team, it's like you said, it's strength on strength, but North Carolina, once again, with their margins being so small, it's going to take a perfect game, I would imagine, from them on offense to kind of hang. Like you said, even if they limited Duke to 24 or 20 or so, North Carolina hasn't proven that they can score. I mean, they went with 0 touchdowns last week against Wake, which if I'm calling plays, I actually call more touchdown plays, but maybe I'm oversimplifying things. That was sarcasm, by the way.
But again, the hope here, in the last 5 games, Duke has given up more than 20 points.
Yeah.
To everybody they faced. They gave up 21 to Cal, 27 to Georgia Tech, 45 to Clemson, 37 to Connecticut, and 34 to Virginia. So, this is movable object against unmoving force. So
it's very stoppable force.
Yeah, we're going to find out, whether Carolina is going to be able to score in this context against this team. And I do think if Carolina can come out, and if I'm Belichick and I'm Kitchens, I'm trying really hard to script that first drive super, super well, because it would be an enormous boost of confidence to go out and score a touchdown on that first drive. They've not really done. They did that against TCU, and they really haven't done it a whole lot since, right? They haven't showed much life on offense since then.
Just avoid playing from behind.
Yeah, if you can come out and get on the board early and play with some leverage that way, that could change the complexion of this game. And rivalry games are funky, right? You do have to. This is not an unwinnable game, even though Duke has been the better team over the course of the season. It's not unwinnable. But you do have to have a few extra wrinkles. You're going to have to find some ways to make this work. And, we'll see what Belichick and them have up their sleeve. It's hard to have much up your sleeve when you're not drawing good cards to begin with, but we'll find out if they've got something. And if you can get, 7-10 points in the first quarter and a half or so and just keep yourself in it, it's a rivalry game. The longer you stay in it, the more your players believe, and the more you've got a chance to make that upset possible. But like I said, it's going to be uphill with the offense, but that's what you're hoping for.
I really thought you were going to say it's hard to have something up your sleeve when your sleeves are cut off, but I digress. All right,
I missed it. I missed it.
It was right there on a tee for you, brother. That's Jason Staples. Be sure to look for more amazing film breakdowns and analysis from him every week on Inside Carolina. He'll also be on the day after with Tommy and Buck tomorrow. We appreciate him making time for us here on Inside Carolina Live. Doc, talk to you soon.
See you later. Thanks for the warning.
I'm Landon Turner, and you're listening to Inside Carolina Live on 97.9 The Hill.
It's time for the Chapel Hill Tire Drive Happy Drive of the Game. With time running out at the end of the first half, Carolina needed to find some points against Wake Forest to keep the game close, and they did with a 6-play, 23-yard drive that set up Reese Verhoff to attempt a UNC all-time record 57-yard field goal.
Just a really long kick. 57-yarder off the right hash for Verhoff. Snap back, spot down. Kick is away. It is good. Wow. Verhoff from 57 yards gives Carolina a shot of momentum going into the locker room.
That was this week's Chapel Hill Tire Drive Happy Drive of the Game. Save $50 when you spend $150 or more on automotive services during football season at any of Chapel Hill Tire's 12 area locations. Use promo code DOTG25 when you schedule your appointment, and drive happy, Tar Heels.
This is Jeff Denny with Generator Supercenter of the Triangle. We are the #1 Generac residential installer in North America. I really stress with the customers that we are looking to be their generator partner for the next 10, 15, 20 years for their ownership of having a generator. We want to make sure they can rely on us that generator is ready to run and on go when they need it. Go to Generator Supercenter of Triangle.com. That's Generator Supercenter of the Triangle.com.
Will you stifle yourself and listen to old Uncle Archie? Only a dingbat would manage his own money there. You'll flush it down the toilet, then some meathead wants to marry your little Goyle, and you ain't got the money to pay for the wedding. So don't kill your chickens before they cross the road there, huh? Call John Stillman at Rosewood Wealth Management there.
Listen up, you meathead. Archie Bunker isn't real and wasn't compensated for this. But Carolina Wealth Stewards, doing business as Rosewood Wealth Management, is a real registered investment advisor in the state of North Carolina.
This basketball season, there's only one place to be on game day, Town Hall Grill. Cheer on the Tar Heels with delicious food, ice-cold drinks, and every play on the big screens with the sound on. Town Hall Grill is your go-to spot for great food, cold drinks, and Carolina basketball all season long. Game day or night means Town Hall Grill. Big screens, sound on, ice-cold drinks, and the food you love. Don't miss a moment to cheer on the Tar Heels at Town Hall Grill.
I'm Jeremy Salemson with CIMG Residential Mortgage. There are optimistic signs and trends in housing these days, so you may be asking, is this the right time to buy or sell, and what can I afford? Well, we're here to help you buy or refinance your home with an experienced team, creative solutions, personalized service, and efficient systems. Contact us at CIMGINC.com and see firsthand the advantages of lending on a first-name basis. NMLS number 39460.
Hi, it's Jones Angel, voice of the Tar Heels, and you're listening to your flagship station for Tar Heel sports, 97.9 The Hill, WCHL, Chapel Hill.
You're listening to Inside Carolina Live on 97.9 The Hill, WCHL, the flagship station for Tar Heel sports.
Inside Carolina Live. Hey, sorry to all the folks that are watching this on YouTube. I'm going to say a bold black goblin got the audio feed during Staples' interview. In reality, it was just yours truly. I thought I was muting the background of the wind. I thought I was doing you guys a favor, but clearly I was just cutting off the audio that Staples was putting through. So I'll wear that. My bad. Sorry. And shout out to all of the folks in Central Ohio who are tuned in to see beautiful Northeastern Ohio. I'm sorry, beautiful Matt Merletti.
Gracious guys.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry, beautiful Matt Merletti. Yeah, dude, our ratings right now amongst the St. Ignatius alumni are just through the damn roof.
It's high.
It's high. Incredibly high. So,
ironically enough, we actually are have a national search for a head coach right now.
A national search.
National.
Can I make any recommendations?
I would love one.
I'm sorry. I'm a terrible person for saying that out loud. We're back. We appreciate you guys making Inside Carolina Live a part of your pregame tailgate habits. We love doing this show and love that you guys make us a part of what you do before the game starts. But it's a big day here. Merletti's beautiful wife is taking photos of him and his boys as we get you ready for Tar Heels and Blue Devils kicking off at about 3:30 here at Kenan Stadium, the battle for the Victory Bell. Matt, what do you think it is that makes Duke's passing attack so lethal? I mean, the easy answer is that Darian Mensah is just an elite level quarterback. And I think you do need to commend Duke for finding their guy in the portal and getting him. I'll be honest. When North Carolina was considering, when Sumrall was a hot name for North Carolina's new coach, I loved the prospects of Darian Mensah coming to North Carolina.
Yep.
But kudos to Duke for finding and getting him. And I know they're paying him $4 million a year, which is mind blowing. But to their credit, they've got from him what they expected to get from him. Now, granted, they haven't been able to capitalize with the number of wins, but they've got an elite passer, and they've got a guy that is making next level completions, next level passer ratings, all of the statistical things he is really, really good at. So I want to ask you, what is it that you feel like makes that passing attack so effective for Duke?
To me, we talked about it earlier in the show that offensive coordinators putting him in good spots to get in a rhythm, to have some quick, efficient plays, get some momentum, get some confidence, and get in a rhythm. And the quick game like that makes a massive difference. And you see the difference in his numbers and his efficiency when he's pressured versus not. And we have to, I know it's not your question, but we have to, as a defense this week, we have to be blitzing a ton today in order to have a chance.
Is it blitzing or is it getting home with 4?
Of course,
that's
if
the
you
thing
can.
that scares me is because if you blitz a guy like Darian Mensah, and actually if you blitz Darian Mensah, the numbers show it. If you blitz him and don't get home, he'll eat you to death.
Of course,
he'll carve you up. So it's one of those things where, is it North Carolina trying to blitz or is it North Carolina getting home with 4? If you've got to choose between those two, what do you call it?
Oh, 100% getting there with 4. And that's, I'm assuming that we can't. If we can't get there with 4, we cannot sit back in this game and not afford to blitz and take some chances. What the heck do we have to lose?
I was going to say, would you rather get beat 50-0 because you blitzed, or would you rather, because that's the thing. If you don't get,
it's not all or nothing. But I know what you're saying.
It's not a zero-sum game. I mean, I think you make a great point in the sense that if you give him time, he's going to pick you apart anyway.
Yeah.
So why not maybe roll the dice and try to get him on the ground?
It's the only chance to win. Yeah, you have to do it. And you have to mix it up. You have to do this when they're not expecting it, not just on the third down.
Yeah.
You have to mix this up and put them in some second and longs and third and longs.
I think one of the things that people underestimate about the safety position in college, and this is where I'm gonna give you as much runway as I can to let you go be Matt. When you look at a safety's responsibility in college football, and probably to a lesser extent the NFL, but definitely in college, your job is to get guys on the ground. Your job is to make tackles in space. How important is that on a game like today where, Mensah's going to find his guys. If you're coming over to help, or if you've got one-on-one responsibility to a receiver catching the ball, explain how important it is to make those tackles, or how punitive it might be if you don't make those tackles.
I mean, it was always drilled into our heads that we were the last line of defense, literally, and you have to be on point. You cannot take chances too often back there, or else you're really going to pay for it in the worst way. And I think one of the most valuable things that I learned in college, and this is so applicable to life too, was it's so simple, but Art Kaufman was the one who kind of instilled it in us. It was
an NFL guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was next play.
Yeah.
And that in that sense that regardless of if it's a good or a bad play, you have to immediately forget it and put it behind you.
Be a goldfish.
And just keep going.
Yeah.
Next play, immediately look to the sideline, get your next call, and move on. It is done. And that's especially effective whenever you do give up a 30-yard gain, something like that. Yeah. I remember when that happened. It was a Virginia Tech game my senior year, and that was decent a bit into the season. And I gave up one of my few pass plays that I got beat for 20-yard gain or something like that. I can't
even miss tackle.
No, it was a damn good throw by Tyrod Taylor, and it was it was a seam route, and I just didn't get there on time. It was a perfect pass,
right?
And just didn't get there. It wasn't like, I think it was like 20 yards or something like that, 15, 20 yards, but like I was pissed that it happened. And immediately popped in my head. Next play, because you can get in a situation where they're fast up tempo offense, even if it's not. If you get down on yourself and are kicking rocks here, looking down on yourself or freaking out about it, screaming, you're not looking at the call. You don't know what personnel it is. You're not you have to check all of that. You have to check and see what personnel it is on offense, who's coming on and off the field. We're holding up signs on the defense sideline of that, and then you're getting somebody hand signal in whatever the play call is. If it's base defense, if it's nickel, blah blah blah, and you have to make sure all of your guys on the field. It's also the safety's job to make sure everyone's even lined up right.
So you kind of don't have time to be pissed at yourself.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
And that's the point. It's that's why it's such good advice is to move on to that next play, regardless of what happened. Because it could have been a sack too. You still need to figure out what the personnel is, what the call is, make sure everyone's lined up correctly. Not just that, echo all of that with 50,000 people screaming. You have to echo all those calls, make sure you're on the same page. It's a lot happening at once. It goes so fast.
How much do you remember about the 2010 season? I know you got thrown into the fire there, but follow me. I'm going to get here in a second.
Sure.
2010, you guys had some guys out for various reasons. The scandal started and guys were kind of held out that shouldn't have been held out. Some guys were held out that should have been held out, but you were constantly working guys back in. It's like you never really had your true, starting 11 on the back end, on the defensive side. Today, North Carolina is expected to get Thaddeus Dixon back, who is clearly their best cover corner. Timing is great. You need him against a player like Darian Mensah, who is going to, how he plays is going to hinge whether or not Duke wins this ball game. But I would ask you, how do you work in a guy who is talented but has been out for a little bit and now he's coming back, right? You've had some guys get reps because they've had to with his injury. Well, now Dixon's back. Explain how that works, not just from a schematic standpoint, but from a chemistry standpoint.
It does matter with chemistry, especially on more so the communication front and echoing the calls, making sure that they're squared away and sharp with all of that. And to me, that's the biggest thing. It's less about who's on the field to me, and it's more about, is this person not going to skip a beat in terms of communication, in terms of lining up correctly, and they're used to hearing the checks, especially when the crowd's loud, everything like that. To me, that goes a really long way, and he should fit right in and be able to immediately contribute, because in the words of Tommy Ashley, Jimmy's and Joe's be X's and O's. You have to play the talent.
So I want to shout out Spencer Haskell, who's officially now the best hair on the show.
He is now.
Spencer's a hockey guy, and so he's thinking about his lettuce 24/7. So I got to give him some big time chirper props for showing up. But Spencer, we've talked a little bit about North Carolina's defense against Duke's passing game, and I think that's literally, if you want to distill this game to one thing, that's it. If North Carolina brings back Thaddeus Dixon today, and if they're able to get some pressure on Darian Mensah, do you feel like they can hang with Duke's offense, or is it just, is it going to come down to the offense scoring points?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't think we can ever count on this offense to score points, but
which is why I didn't want to say that outright. But yes, go ahead.
But Thad Dixon is supposed to be back today, and I think that more than the past game, I think that the key to this one will be stopping the run and winning at the line of scrimmage, and being able to, I guess, make this Duke offense beat you one-handed. I think Jason made a really good point on the podcast this week about how when Duke has lost, they've struggled to run football in every single one of their losses. So I think if they're able to shut Duke down at the line of scrimmage, maybe force some early negative plays, set them behind the stick, 2nd and 9, 2nd and 11, and they know to expect the pass, I think that this defense will have a much better chance of getting off the field and not getting their offense into a shootout, which we all know good and well at this point, Carolina cannot win in a shootout style game.
Who do you feel like is playing to their edge right now, or who needs to raise that level against an elite quarterback? Because I don't think I'm going out on a limb when I say this is the best quarterback that North Carolina's going to see.
Yeah, right. Well, obviously in the back end, I think, kind of the captain of the defense, the free safety, kind of Roman secondary, Will Hardy, I think he's got to have a big game, especially. And I know he'll want to have a big game. It's his last game in Keenan. Wrote an article about, his Carolina career, and he talked on Wednesday about, how much this one means to him. But more than that, I think that if they let Mensah sit back in a clean pocket all day long, I think that he's shown time and time again on film this year that he's going to dissect your defense no matter how good your coverage is. If he has time to eat a sandwich back there,
that's the key.
So I think that after a week where the Carolina pass rush and Abujade and Tyler Thompson were almost non-existent against Robbie Ashford,
we had heard so much about them, and then last week they just disappeared.
Completely out of the game.
Good on Wake for doing it, but
right.
also if you're going to be a blue chip player, you got to be a blue chip player against anybody.
Right. And so if they can make Mensah uncomfortable, if they can win at the line of scrimmage and make him, if they can speed him up and rush him and make his life, force him off platform throws, force him to be inaccurate instead of giving him, 3 seconds to read the field. I think that'll go a long way as opposed to good coverage.
Matt, am I overestimating when I say I think third and medium against Duke today will tell the game? Third and medium on defense against Duke's offense is going to tell you whether or not North Carolina has a shot to pull this out. Am I oversimplifying things?
No, and I wouldn't have even thought that or even come up with that. But I think you're on point. That's going to be the deciding factor, I think, and tell you how this game is going to go.
And beyond that, this is, even if you do stop them on third down, this is a Duke team, and credit to Jeff and Jason for really, getting into the numbers on the Game Plan podcast this week. They'll go for it. They struggled on third down against Clemson, but they still put up 46 points. So how do you do that going on a poor percentage on third down? I think they went 5 for 5 on fourth down.
Yeah.
So I think Carolina might have to coach this game a little bit differently in understanding that, hey, if it's 3rd and 5 and we hold them to a 4th and 2, a 4th and 3, it's 2 down territory, maybe inside the 50-yard line. So just knowing that you might have to get a stop twice as opposed to once.
That's when I lose my confidence when you mention coaching decisions, because there's nothing this staff has done.
You think?
To give us any confidence so far this year. So it's like one of those where, all right, if you're telling me it's going to come down to the adults, all right, I'm going to walk away from the chip counter.
No, not much reason for confidence. 10 games into the season, which says enough in itself.
Matt, is this one of those things where early in the game, can you tell if North Carolina's up to snuff just based on how clean Duke's routes are?
No, but to me, I think the second drive on either side of the ball is going to tell you everything.
Yeah.
To me, the first drive it's overrated in my opinion, even if you do score a touchdown, just because it's all scripted stuff.
Okay.
And after that, the opposing defense, again, on both teams, they're able to adjust, see what they're doing, and that's when you start to see the actual kind of cadence of the game and where this is heading. Even if it's, ironically enough, I'm thinking of Switzer against Duke, first play of the game, if you guys remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Touchdown pass.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great – obviously you can't get any better than that, but it also doesn't always just tell the story like, oh, we're going to kill them. I thought that whenever we did that against TCU, even knowing this rule,
like a hot knife through butter.
I'm like, not only are we going to win, like we're going to kill them.
Yeah. Man, that's what's funny is we're going to look back on the season when we're all old and we're going to be like, hey guys, remember that first drive against TCU, Belichick's first year? Remember that?
I had goosebumps.
Remember how amazing that was?
I had goosebumps.
I jumped the gun. I was quick to send a couple texts after.
Yeah. What I said
after Caleb had punched it in.
I told you.
They can't take that from us, guys.
Right.
They'll never be able to.
Like, this is what $50 million looks like.
All right. We'll be right back. We're going to talk a little bit about, in the next segment, the keys from North Carolina's offensive rebound. Not offensive rebounding, but offensive rebound on the offensive side of the ball. Because if Carolina can't score today, well, then nothing else matters.
Yep.
Cue up the Metallica. We'll be right back. I'm Joey Powell. Matt Merletti's here. Our man Spencer Haskell has joined us. You're listening to Inside Carolina Live on 97.9 The Hill, WCHL.
This is Matt Merletti, and you're listening to Inside Carolina Live.
When the leaves fall, the roads get slick. Make sure your car is ready for every twist and turn with Michelin tires and free installation from Chapel Hill Tire. Now through December 9th, get an $80 rebate card after online submission with the purchase of 4 new Michelin passenger or light truck tires. And with Chapel Hill Tire's free expert installation on Michelin tires, a $120 value, that's $200 in total savings for you. With 12 area locations, visit chapelhilltire.com today and drive happy.
Inside Carolina,
the place for Tar Heel sports discussion, analysis, and breaking news, has moved to a new home, the On3 Network, offering the same great coverage of Carolina sports with exclusive recruiting information, in-depth team analysis, and insightful podcasts. You can still find us at InsideCarolina.com, but you will need to reactivate your subscription as they don't transfer to our new home. You can do so today for $1. Make your game day begin and end with InsideCarolina.com.
Sundays are bigger at Town Hall Grill. Kick off your day with the best brunch in town, then catch every NFL game on the big screens with the sound on. Bring the family, enjoy great food and ice-cold drinks, and be part of a local spot that proudly supports autism awareness in our community. Town Hall Grill at Southern Village, where brunch meets football, and every Sunday feels like game day. Let's go Tar Heels.
Hey Tar Heels, Adam Bishop here, senior pastor at New Hope Church in Durham and a big Carolina fan. Whether you're celebrating a win or down at halftime, you'll find Hope Community and a place to belong at New Hope. For over 20 years, we've been a diverse faith family where people build lasting friendships and make a difference together. There's a seat waiting for you. Visit newhopechurch.org. We can't wait to meet you, and God bless our Tar Heels.
This is Jeff Denny with Generator Supercenter of the Triangle. We are the #1 Generac residential installer in North America. 80% of the homeowners that have a generator have a Generac. We want to understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish and what are your fears, wishes, desires. And then how do we do this project the most efficiently? We're also here to give you peace of mind, protection, safety, and security. Go to GeneratorSuperCenterOfTheTriangle.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterOfTheTriangle.com.
Rally House, shop every team in town, college and pro. Come on, it's time to go.
The season starts at Rally House. From jerseys and hats to tumblers for game day, it's where outrageous selection meets every fan's style.
Carolina Pride, we bring the heat from the Dean Dome floor to Franklin Street.
Rally House, Rally House. It's your city, it's your house, it's a Rally House.
Level up your fandom in-store or online at rallyhouse.com.
You're listening to Inside Carolina Live on 97.9 The Hill WCHL, the flagship station for Tar Heel sports.
Inside Carolina Live. Sing to me, Mick Jagger, please. Let that vibe come in. This is such a slow song. I don't know if it's because of the segment of Goodfellas that got me. This is all-time. So let's hope that North Carolina is not looking for rape and murder today on the field, because that is that's what the singer says. She screams rape, murder. So I'm hoping that North Carolina is not looking at that today on the field at Keeney Stadium to battle for the victory bell.
And we're off.
We are off. Matt Merletti, Grace Nuge. I'm gonna just Nuge. You're just Nuge.
Wait, that's already my nickname. You actually caught on.
The Nuge, and then Spencer Haskell's here. I'm Joey Powell. This is Inside Carolina Live. We're gonna take you right up till about 2:30 when we hand it off to the folks at the network. I would be remiss if I did not thank AJ for keeping us at least somewhat in between the buoys today as we run this last home radio show of the year. Next week, EJ and I will come to you live from the WCHL studios, unless we decide to go brave the folk at Carter Finley. I don't want to, but I have made worse decisions.
The lovely people at Carter Finley.
So Grace, you just got here, so we're going to go ahead and put you on the spot because that's how we roll things here. North Carolina's probably principal means of attack today is going to be in the run game, because that's where Duke has shown they're most likely to give up some yards and where North Carolina is most likely to probably succeed. But this is a North Carolina team that cannot break tackles. This is a North Carolina team that has really not found any rhythm in the run game, especially after last week in Winston, where anemic would be a nice way to put it. So I want to ask you, Grace, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for them to establish the run and the ground game early against Duke to have any chance of winning this ballgame?
I would say at least an 8, because up until now, the offense actually basically all of the time, especially last weekend, the offense was probably one of the most underwhelming things I've ever watched. It's like nails on a chalkboard. You don't want to watch it as much as you love the team. You're like,
watched Texas during Charlie
Yes.
Strong, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I watched Texas since I can remember. I've watched Texas, so I've had to watch a lot of bad. Currently, their run game is also abysmal.
Even this year.
But North Carolina's is worse than that. Just the entire offense in general can't really find any sort of rhythm, and
they can't do things.
No, they can't do anything.
It doesn't look like
Nothing.
it looks like a different game whenever you watch a legit two teams playing.
Yeah, and
compared to
they're
ours.
not they're not two teams, and I really relate to Sandra Bullock's character in The Blind Side, where she calls Bert and says, "Bert, run the dang ball. Enough of the trick plays." And I think that's exactly what they need to do. And I've heard Mac Brown say it time and time again when he was here, which is you need to run the ball and stop the run.
Yeah.
And they need to run the ball. Like I don't care. Bowl people over, whatever you have to do. Just run the dang ball. They can't do it.
But it's not even
they can't run the ball.
It's
But
so
that's
bad.
the thing. It's not even that North Carolina's getting too cute and running too many trick plays. They just can't run the ball.
I mean, you have to establish a good ground game to be able to establish
Right.
anything in the air, because if not, they're just going to have absolutely no options, because the Duke secondary is going to know that this is the only thing that's going to happen. So they have to at least find some sort of jazz in the run game to get it going.
Jazz. Matt and I talked about in the first hour, and so this will be new for you guys, but forgive me for repeating with humility. I think that there's some value for North Carolina in throwing the ball down the field, even if it doesn't hit, because it gives Duke something else to think about. They haven't even tried to throw the ball down the field, at least against Wake. I mean, I don't even know what their attempts was, but I can't even remember them trying to throw the ball down the field, except for the one time they threw it to a running back out of the backfield that was a freshman, and he caught it, didn't catch it, caught it, didn't catch it. Shout out to the ACC officiating
North
crew.
Carolina special right there.
That absolutely was. I mean, that to me is damning as any set of play calling for North Carolina can be.
It is hard to catch an obtuse round object between your legs, but yeah, we'll see. I was going to say, if at least nothing else to keep the defense honest, at least to let Manny Diaz and let the Duke defensive coordinator know, hey, we're not. I don't even want to say a one-trick pony because that implies you have a trick.
They have no tricks.
But hey, we're not just gonna try and run it over and over and over when we can. We're going to try and, open some things up by going deep and taking the top off.
Have to.
Try some different looks.
Hang on. I don't want to go one trick pony here, but Grace is from Texas. Is a zero trick pony? What is that, a jackass?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
An Aggie?
Wow. Wow. So if you're keeping tabs at home, Frank Sinatra and Texas A&M both catching strays in this here show. Matt, how can North Carolina use tempo as a weapon today and not as a gimmick? That's something we haven't seen them do, but I think could play into their advantage, mainly because, again, Duke's thinness at linebacker, and if North Carolina's playing tempo, Duke's not able to sub.
Yeah, no, it makes a massive difference, and that is usually part of the strategy. Where the opposing defense is thin, and you try to exploit that the entire time. So yeah, you have to mix that up. If those guys are tired and they have to get a blow, then you're going to have an even worse guy in there, and they're already thin as it is. So it makes a massive difference. I imagine, again, I can't remember how many times I've said this year, we can at least expect good coaching because these guys know what they're doing. And
do they, though?
I know. That's what it feels like.
In theory.
There's something different, I think, against going up against an NFL team that you know is going to be entirely prepared. You know their coaches. You've seen them for a while. You know the players. You know where the players have been in college and in the pros. And then going up against kids from all over the country that have played a couple games. And it's just, I think it's a different beast, and I don't think the coaching staff was prepared for that.
And to take it one step further, if you're playing against another NFL team, that means you are coaching an NFL team, which means you have a roster full of
NFL talent,
of guys who have the talent,
dependable,
and the ability to play.
Yeah.
And the discipline, I think.
And the NFL. But elaborating further on the tempo, just on the flip side of the ball, I think going tempo can kind of allow your quarterback to otherwise get in a rhythm. We saw it last home game against Stanford. Stanford struggled for Elijah Brown at least, Stanford struggled to move the football, all game against Carolina defense. And all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, they started to go up tempo and make it a little bit easier reads for the younger quarterback. And all of a sudden they're marching down the field, scoring 2 fourth quarter touchdowns. And if my memory serves correct, going all the way back to Orlando, right in the series where Gio Lopez got hurt, they had begun to, they were starting to move the football, and it was because they were going tempo and they were making it easier on the quarterback. He doesn't have to, he's not standing with 30 seconds on the play clock having to try and, maybe overthink or diagnose everything the defense is doing. The tempo can let him get into a rhythm and into a flow. And then on the flip side, it keeps the otherwise, lesser talented, bodies on the Duke defense on the field for longer.
Yep. Well, and flow isn't just for yoga anymore, right? I think there's an opportunity if North Carolina will simplify things, which they haven't shown in 10 games. But if North Carolina would simplify things for Gio Lopez, I think he's capable of doing enough.
It's kind of what we talked about at the beginning of the show. It's like you need to get him involved quick.
Yeah.
And you don't – I think you even said it, rolling on a long developing play, rolling against his body, throwing it 30 yards across the field. It's like, no. That's not the first play. The first play needs to be like a 5-yard hitch and just get him in the rhythm and just immediately run the ball to June, like anything.
Well, and what's crazy is if also you've got a quarterback that's willing to get the ball out quickly, that allows Duke or that forces Duke to sit back a little bit more and not pressure as much. If you're getting the ball out quickly, it's going to force them to play back, and it's going to force them to play the pass as opposed to just sending whatever heat they're going to send your way, because Wake did a great job of putting people in Gio Lopez's lap last week.
And I think when you do that, especially Gio tries to force throws.
Yes.
And you can't
Nobody
do that at all.
I
mean, it's the same thing in baseball when they say when you're at the plate, you have to be loose and you have to slow the game down. Well, when you have a higher velocity fastball, the entire idea for a hitter is to be slower, which sounds counterintuitive. But I think it's the same thing. When you have guys rushing at you, you need to be loose and you can't force anything, because when you force anything, you make bad throws, incompletions, interceptions, and it just leads to a ton of bad stuff.
Let's talk about the red zone a little bit, because North Carolina,
red zone?
It's worth laughing. Well, I've been told that there's a Takis red zone at Kenan Stadium. We wouldn't know it based on how last week went, but North Carolina is not going to win this game today with field goals. Hell, they didn't win last week with field goals. So I don't know why going against a team that has the offense that Duke has, North Carolina would even try to play the field goal game, even though I know it's hammered into Bill Belichick's DNA as an NFL coach. Matt, talk a little bit about how it might be helpful to scheme drives and scheme possessions into 4-down play calling, as opposed to we're within 30 yards. Let's let the kicker come in and take us 3, and we'll figure it out next time. I mean, that's not going to work today.
No, it really won't, especially because we felt it last game too against Wake. But Duke's they might put up some points here, and they've. So we're going to kind of, you would think, be forced to, but again, we've made, last week was a good example of it. We should have been going for it when it was debatable, at least. I love if they should have or not.
I love the fact when they got down there, it was a 2-possession game, and they went for the field goal to cut it to a 2-possession game. I love that strategy.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. So it's going to be, to me, it's even going to be even harder to ignore that this week with Duke and a really high-powered offense and a damn good quarterback.
And that's assuming that they can be successful in the red zone in the first place. 5 trips inside the Wake 30-yard line last week, and they not once did they really sniff the goal line.
Big old goose egg on the touchdown calculator.
And then if you want to go back to, the red zone has bitten this Carolina offense in the butt all season long. If you go back to the Stanford game, first half, they force a fumble, the defense creates turnover, the offense gets the ball
on the shortest of short fields.
The offense gets the ball inside the 15-yard line, and they don't move, and they kick a chip shot field goal. Going back to Virginia, the red zone interception, the red zone fumble at the goal line, or even if you want to go back to California,
that was probably the worst.
The fumble at the goal line. I would just love it. Again, the fact that we're 11 games into the season is awful for me to be saying. I would just love to see this Carolina offense's ability to score a touchdown in the red zone and not have to settle for a field goal or even worse, a turnover.
Grace, what does it look like if North Carolina starts getting playmakers the ball in space for this team? I'm asking you to imagine here, but what does it look like?
Really, really going to Wonderland here, Joey. I think it would show a different, I think, version of the offense than we've seen in so long. And I don't know why they're trying to force things that they don't have, which they keep trying to do. And it's clearly not working. That's the definition of insanity. Let's try something different. Let's get some different looks. They have playmakers. If they do that and they give their wide receivers, their playmakers space, I think they might be able to get up the field. And maybe to make Spencer happy so he doesn't pull his hair out, they could score a touchdown. And that would be just incredible. If they go for it on 4th down in the red zone every single time, I don't think I would have a problem with that.
I mean, what do
you
they
have to lose?
Thank
You have literally zero things to lose
Yeah.
except your pride and dignity, which is probably already gone by now.
I'm fairly certain that left after the Clemson game.
Yeah, so might as well just try it. What else can you do? I mean, the Miami Miracle happened, and anything is possible. Just go for 4th.
That is Grace Nugent-Garnett. If you need her, anything is possible. Last thing, Matt, when we're talking about a rivalry game, and the victory bell means more to the guys in that locker room than it does to anybody out here tailgating around us. What are some things you can do to go take that back?
To me, it's playing to the whistle, and as simple as that sounds, I mean to the end of the whistle.
Echo the whistle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you need to get every advantage that you possibly can, and because people really fight for this game and fight for the bell. It's definitely an amplified feel to the game and emotion of the game, and you could feel that when you're on the field. You can feel that in the stands. You can sense that, and that's a big part of it. I think that it will play a factor, and even we talked a little bit about it earlier, at least hinted at it. Even with so many new guys on the team, there's no mistaking that there was some ramped up intensity to the practices this week. They understand and they know that this is a little bit different. This is not just another game. So it does play a big factor in it.
All right. Last break. When we get back, we'll have our last word before Carolina and Duke meet for one of the most meaningful victory bell games in a long time. Grace Nugent is here. Spencer Haskell is here. Matt Merletti is here. I'm Joey Powell. We'll be right back for the last segment before the last home game of the year. Tar Heels and Blue Devils kick off at 3:30. You're listening to Inside Carolina Live on 97.9 The Hill, WCHL.
I'm Shaquille Rashad, and you're listening to Inside Carolina Live on 97.9 The Hill.
I'm Ray Posada, the broker in charge for Coldwell Banker Howard Perry & Walston in Chapel Hill and Pittsburgh. I connect people with the people that they need to solve a problem, people who need to plan for changes in their estate. A lot of people are coming to this state anew from all over the world and country. So when they do come here and they do purchase property, and they have to learn about the laws, the tax laws, and things like that.
For more information, go to rayposada.hpw.com.
Rams Corner is the hottest place to catch the heels, NFL, NBA, and international soccer on the biggest TVs in town. Enjoy an affordable menu with starters, soups and salads, seafood, veggie dishes, tacos, and burgers, hot off the grill. All freshly made from $7 to $21. Nothing matches it. Dine and drink on the front patio, the longest bar in town, or a party table for up to 12. Rams Corner is at 431 West Franklin. On the corner, make it your place for food, fun, and games.
I'm Jeremy Salemson with CIMG Residential Mortgage. There are optimistic signs and trends in housing these days, so you may be asking, is this the right time to buy or sell, and what can I afford? Well, we're here to help you buy or refinance your home with an experienced team, creative solutions, personalized service, and efficient systems. Contact us at CIMGINC.com and see firsthand the advantages of lending on a first-name basis. NMLS number 39460.
I'm Hank Hill, and I sell propane and propane accessories. I think I've done pretty well.
Talking about that dang old 401k, man.
And that's Boomhauer. I used to get my financial advice from him.
Man, talking about that dang old Bitcoin and penny stocks, man.
Dang it, Boomhauer, that was terrible advice. Thankfully, John Stillman at Rosewood Wealth Management helped me fix my mess. If he weren't my friend, I'd hug him.
Dang old Hank and I ain't real, man, but Carolina Wealth Stewards doing business as dang old Rosewood Wealth Management as a real registered investment advisor in the state of North Carolina, man.
Rally House, shop every team in town. College and pro, come on, it's time to go.
The season starts at Rally House. From jerseys and hats to tumblers for game day, it's where outrageous selection meets every fan's style.
Carolina Pride, we bring the heat from the Dean Dome floor to Franklin Street. Rally House, Rally House. It's your city, it's your house, it's the Rally House.
Level up your fandom in-store or online at rallyhouse.com.
Sundays are game days at Town Hall Grill. Enjoy family-friendly brunch, ice-cold drinks, and every NFL game on big screens with the sound on. Town Hall Grill, where brunch meets football and supports autism awareness in our community. Bring the family, enjoy great food and ice-cold drinks, and be part of a local spot that proudly supports autism awareness in our community. Town Hall Grill, where every Sunday feels like game day. Let's go Tar Heels.
You're listening to Inside Carolina Live on 97.9 The Hill WCHL, the flagship station for Tar Heel sports.
Came from the country, back to the bare knuckle fighter. Yeah, I'm an American.
Last segment of the network, Jones Angel, Matt Merletti's homie Brent Renner will be on the call today. And Lee Pace, who has forgotten more about Carolina football than any of us will ever know. I'm Joey Powell. Matt Merletti is here. Grace Nugent and Spencer Haskell. Grace is just here to throw her phone on the ground, it seems like. But Tar Heels and Blue Devils in the newest rivalry for the Victory Bell, I guess. It's weird anytime Duke has that bell. Maybe I'm showing my my myopic views, but it's really nuts when I think about Duke actually having the Victory Bell, because for so long it was just not a thing. Rivalry games reveal character, y'all. And there hasn't been a lot of character-defining moments for this team. What does it look like today if they start to bow up, Matt? How would you describe, or what are some plays that we could look for that might show this team developing some character even this late in the season?
I'm okay if we get a 15-yard penalty and we're shoving somebody in the mouth. Like, this needs to be a smash mouth environment and team, whether that's on offense or defense. I would love to see that and just see some passion, get the crowd into this a little bit. To me, that's what it looks like, and that could happen quick. I hope to see that, something like that on the first drive, where you can tell that what I said earlier about this being ramped up in terms of the intensity during practice this week, that you see some tensions kind of flying over, boiling over. I would love to see that.
Grace, how can North Carolina match the intensity that Duke's going to come in with? Because I'll be honest, I am not certain that Duke isn't a better team. I know their record's only 5-5, but
I think they're a better team.
Vegas seems to think that they're at least a touchdown better. How can North Carolina match the intensity that Duke's going to come in with?
I think short of punching anyone, I
like
that.
Why do we have to eliminate punches?
I would like to put that on the table. I really like that option. I think you start out with a bang, and that could be something like a punch. But I think seeing them play every single down, every single snap at 120%. Yeah. I think that's how I see intensity. When you watch the game, you look at a team that seems to really, really want to win. They just haven't looked like that. We've talked about this since the Clemson game, that North Carolina just hasn't looked like they've wanted to win games. But this is one of those games where it's more than just the score, what's going in the record book on the line. This is a rivalry game. I really do believe that in rivalry games, whatever the Vegas odds say, whatever the stats for which quarterback, whatever PFF says, a little bit of that is out the window because it is a rivalry game. It has so much emotion, just so much, I guess, power to it. You could say that. And so I think that if they really, really do show that they're playing 130, 140, whatever,
even if it's a big hit on either side,
if it's a huge hit,
yeah.
Let's see a fumble recovery. Let's see an interception. Like, I don't even care if there's a targeting call. So sorry. I know I probably shouldn't say that, but come on. It's football.
It does something for the sideline.
Let's go.
Spencer, when you have a coach that isn't going to show emotion, when you have a coach that is incredibly laconic,
Darth Belichick,
and robotic, laconic is a good SAT word, by the way. Okay. When you have somebody like that on your sidelines, is there a way for the team to show a little bit of a verve outside of that?
Yeah, for sure. I would 100% say yes, because I think at this point in the season, the guys on this roster, they know what they have. They know who's coaching them. They know that they're never going to get a ton of emotion or colorful reactions out of him. So I think it comes down to your leaders in the locker room have to set the tone, because at this point, 10 games into the season, not to compare UNC football to Georgia football or anything close to that, but it's not Kirby Smart, down there on the sidelines, rallying the troops. So I think it comes down to, your leaders, especially the guys that are going to be playing in their last game in Kenan Stadium today, whether, be Will Hardy or, Jordan Shipp's not a senior, but he is far and away the leader of the offensive side of the ball. And it was made abundantly clear after the Wake Forest game last week with some of his comments. But those guys, really have to step it up and to take it upon themselves to, kind of set the tone and hopefully, the 10 guys on the field around them will follow suit and match that intensity, match that energy.
Agreed.
Matt, what do you say to the locker room today? It's if you're a senior, you're looking at the guys that are going to strap it up for the last time. What are you saying to the locker room?
To me, it's about looking in the mirror. Can you look yourself in the mirror after showing up to this game and like the effort that you put forth? And that, to me, that's what it's all about. Like this is a questioning yourself, and a kind of life-defining moment in that sense where you don't have a ton to play for right now.
Yeah.
This is pride. This is being able to look yourself in the mirror and look yourself in the eye and be proud of what you put on the field and remember something. To me, that's what it's about. It's about looking yourself in the mirror.
Can you can you reach somebody who's only been in the program for a few months and make them feel that?
I think so, because that's universal to me. If you can make somebody really think about that and what they're putting on tape, and this is your legacy, this is your memories you're about to make right now, that you're going to potentially tell your grandkids, show up. You cannot let the
don't be a bad chapter in the book.
Yes. And it's in your power. It's in your control. It's in your hands to do that. And how you show up with that and not just treating it like any other game. That matters.
What have you guys sensed, Grace, Spencer, that the staff is telling the team this week? Because, again, I'm not making this up. Belichick said in his first press conference that his first words as a baby were beat Duke. Okay, great. Nice punchline. But also, what is he saying differently this week? What is he doing to prepare these guys differently? I know he's not going to tell you he's preparing differently, but you can tell by talking to players. Grace?
He's been, as a coach, he's been in the situations before. Obviously, he has all the Super Bowl rings. He's been in those situations. He's been in those games. So I think he's probably, in his own Bill Belichick way, so whatever way that is, I don't really think we can speak Bill, subtly telling his team that, hey, what Matt said, this is your game. This is your legacy. This is how you look at yourself in 20, 30, 40 years and said, I put everything out there. Why would you want to play with regrets? I think it's a little bit different because obviously in the NFL, you have players that are going to retire, players that are going to be done. But college, you have more of a finite landscape to say, this is where I end. And I think that his age is actually probably a benefit here, that he's been through so much football that he can somewhat tell these guys, you don't want to live with the regrets of not putting everything you had on the field. And I think that Bill might actually be saying some, maybe not verbatim, obviously, but he might actually be telling his guys some of those words and using whatever practice strategies, whatever he did to get his New England Patriots when he was with the New York Giants locked in for those big games, those season on the line games, those season ending games. I think he's probably using some of that same rhetoric here in Chapel Hill.
I can see a lot of parallels between Duke and the Jets.
Yeah.
Is that too far? Did I stretch that too much? I don't know. My job is to make the show. My job is to make the show fun. I want to ask you, Spencer, is it same question I posed to Grace?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the opposite side of the coin here. And I might honestly be a little bit critical of Bill here because he, in his press conference on Wednesday, I think when asked about the significance and the meaning of this game, he opened with in his Bill Belichick manner, obviously it's a game that means a lot to people around here. It means a lot to the people at Carolina to go out there and beat Duke. But then he said, well, obviously it's not Army-Navy, but it's still a game, which that was the direct quote, which I didn't love. And I don't think that Carolina
you just
fans
don't have to mention it.
Probably
right. Like, why do you continue to shoot yourself in the foot?
But
I think he loves to do it.
But on the flip side of that, from the players at least, Will Hardy came right after him and addressed the media, spoke to reporters, and what he said was very encouraging. He said that, being a
It's
senior,
not Mercer Furman
playing playing against Duke in his last game in Kennedy Stadium, he said that, it's this week I am going to, and the seniors, we're going to prepare like no other. We're going to prepare, harder than we have for any other game. And we're going to leave it all out there. We're going to lay it out there on the line so that, like you said, Matt, when it's all said and done and, the scoreboard, hits zero, that they can win or lose, be proud of the effort and what they put forth on the field today.
Yeah, you do your very best. That's all you can do.
So
you can be proud of whatever the outcome is.
So if the coaching staff maybe isn't, leaning as firmly into this as perhaps, Carolina fans would hope, at least the players and the guys that have been here know just how much it means and want to go out on the right foot and take that victory bell back. Will Hardy said, that bell looks a lot better painted in Carolina blue, sitting in this facility. So I agree with him.
So we've got about 3 minutes left before we have to get out of here. Let's do some predictions. Matt, you said early on, you were very adamant that North Carolina wins this game today. Tell me what it looks like and give me a score.
27-23, UNC wins.
Woo! Offensive explosion.
I was going to say, I don't even know if explosion
our
is
defense
a big
scores.
enough word.
Oh, okay.
I think our defense scores.
So offense just does their thing, but the defense gets a touchdown.
Yes,
right.
they get 20
Fair
points,
enough.
and when they win 20 points, they have a chance. But no, I think we win 27-23. I think that what it looks like, offense is competent, not making mistakes, and Gio Lopez is smart with the ball, and defense holds a very strong offense and quarterback. They hold him in check.
All right. Grace Nugent.
Maybe a controversial take. I think Duke's going to win. I think there's going to be.
How's that controversial?
I don't think
I'm
controversial.
I think there's going to be something just slightly wonky about this game. I think the last time I was at a Duke game was the double overtime Drake May Savior game.
Yeah.
That was so fun. Don't think that's going to happen, though. I think it's going to be 27-15. Either they missed an extra point, they kicked 2 field goals, or I'm really, really hoping for safety for UNC. I just think that would really make my day personally. So I'm going to say 27-15 Duke.
All right. Spencer, same question.
Well, wonkier than a 50-yard offensive fumble recovery for a touchdown.
You know, those are great.
First of all, I would like whatever Matt's having. I'll start with that. I want some of whatever he's got in that cup over there. But I just it's been 10 games this season, and we're still yet to have anything to cling on to hope for this Carolina offense. I mean, the defense is great. Great. I don't know about great. They're solid.
They're good.
But I just don't see a world where this Carolina offense, they've played bad defenses weeks past in Syracuse and Stanford, and they struggled. And going back to playing the worst team in FBS in Charlotte, the offense struggled. They could barely score 20 points. So I think that I just don't see a world where the offense is able to outscore this Duke offense. And I'm going to say Duke takes this one 31-13.
Oh.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? I've vacillated quite a bit in this, thinking about how this game might play out. For once, I think North Carolina finally finds some offense at home in their last stand of the season before the NC State game. I think that at some point, these bounces, these fumbles on the goal line, these being stopped 6 inches shy of a 2-point conversion, I think at some point the bounces actually go Carolina's way. And I'm thinking, it's going to happen today. I don't see it happening in Raleigh next week. So I think it happens today. I think North Carolina's defense shows up. I think they get a little bit of a jolt from Thad Dixon being back. I'm going to go Tar Heels 24, Duke 21, and it's going to be close at the end. But we appreciate you guys being here. Shout out to Grace and Matt and Spencer for making the show what it was. Tommy Ashley disappeared a long time ago into the throes of the Bowls lot, but I'm grateful for AJ for producing us on site. Remember, guys, tomorrow, day after, Tommy and Buck and Staples will be ready for you on IC YouTube channel. Stay tuned for the time. We will be back next week with Inside Carolina Live at 4:30. North Carolina NC State kickoff at 7:30 in Carter Finley. But until next time, we're brought to you by Johnny T-Shirt. For all the crew, I'm Joey Powell. Enjoy the game, bring the noise, and keep the bell.
It's time for the Chapel Hill Tire Drive Happy Drive of the Game. With time running out at the end of the first half, Carolina needed to find some points against Wake Forest to keep the game close, and they did with a 6-play, 23-yard drive that set up Reese Verhoff to attempt a UNC all-time record 57-yard field goal.
It's just a really